Okay, so what's your name?
Diego Salamini.
And how did you get this van? And what kind of van is it?
It's a 1984 Chevy G10. It's called a Shorty. And I got it from a guy named Chris Killian.
And how long have you had it for?
I've had it for about 6 years now.
And how did you get it from this guy? And what how did he give it to you? Did you pay for it, or did he just give it to you?
So it's kind of a long story. I'll go right into it. Um, my mother texted me one day and said, "Do you remember this van?" And she sent a picture of the van. So I couldn't really remember. It's 30 years ago. I didn't really totally remember what it was, but I kind of knew, but I didn't know. And I said, basically, I give up. What is this van? And she said, well, you remember Chris Killian, who lived across the street from us on Herson Street in Watertown? And I said, yes, that's no way that's his van. And she said, yes, it is. And she said, I know you're in the market for something old, like a truck or a van, that era, and he's got it for sale. I said, okay, well, I mean, I'm interested. And before I knew it, Chris was calling me on the phone, telling me all about the van, and we played, sort of catch up, and got caught up for the 30 something years we haven't seen each other. And then he started talking about the van, mentioning that he had to get rid of it for a couple of reasons. And, I told him I was interested. We really didn't talk numbers, but he basically just said, come out, bring a tow truck, come and get this thing, and we'll figure out the rest. So that's exactly what we did. I called the tow truck. I was very apprehensive. I wasn't sure how much I was going to pay for this thing. I only saw one picture of it in a barn that was all roached out and, sort of hiding in this barn all dirty. So I really didn't know what I was getting into. And I'm not a mechanic. I do love old cars, but I'm not a mechanic. So I was a little nervous going in, not knowing what to expect to have to pay for it, or all the circumstances that surrounded it, what kind of condition it was in, and all that stuff. So I was a little nervous, but I did. I packed up and I went out there, and we dropped it off the blocks and brought it out into the sunlight. And I realized it was a pretty nice van. And I met his two reasons why he had to get rid of the van. And he had sort of a baby late in life, and he had another one on the way. So he really needed this room where his van was, and he really wanted it to go to somebody who was sort of like family. And growing up in Watertown, that's how family was. We hung out every day. I watched this van across the street as I grew up as a teenager in admiration when I saw him hanging out in it with his friends and his girlfriends. uh, I was jealous as a young kid ready to drive. I wish I had a van like that. And here I am, full circle, 30 something years later, with the potential of having this van. Um, and then basically, we went inside, showed me a bunch of paperwork that he had for it, all the work that he had done over the years. And at the end of it was a letter that basically told me that he was giving me the van for a dollar, and he was going to sell it to me for a dollar. And I was kind of shocked, and I was flattered. I was honored. And I told him that, this van will stay in my family. And if it gets passed on, it will get passed on to the right person. And this van will stay sort of true to, what its expectancy should be. And I think that was important to him. And it's super important to me. And now I'm sort of happy we're bringing it back to life, and getting it, moving to the next level with it. So I know that's a long story, but that's the story of the van. It's very simple. It's nostalgic, and it's I'm honored to have it.
So, what are your plans for this van in the future? What do you plan to do with it?
Well, it obviously mechanically it has to get fixed up, which it's in the process of doing that. Once the sort of engine is up and running, it's it's almost 40 years old, so needs a little bit of work and needs a little bit of bringing back to life. I'm a carpenter. I'm not a mechanic, so my plans are to do the inside really nice and fix it up. I got a few things planned for the inside, and then I'm probably gonna have it repainted and really brought back to life so I can use it 2 or 3 times a week for work or for whatever leisure activities. You fit a lot of people in a van, so sort of just an all-around family fun van where I can get in, drive, and not think about everything that goes on in a busy life and a busy work life, and just get away. It's sort of like a time capsule to me. I feel like it's a time capsule. I can get in it and drive, and all my problems go away, and then I can come back home and the problems will still be there. So I'm very excited for the future of the van. Sunday morning, huh? We're heading up.
So what are we doing today?
We are heading to a 68-year-old mechanic in New Hampshire that is a friend of my father's that knows this type of era vehicle. Kind of hard to find a mechanic these days that knows how to work on something like this. So that's why we're making the hour-and-a-half trek with a suspect mechanically inclined van. We'll see if we're going to make it there. Well, I'm a little nervous right now. I'm not sure if this temperature gauge is working. If it is, we probably already would have blown something right now. Radiator hose or radiator itself. I just can't tell if this is working or not. I'm basically driving blind, so a little nerve-wracking. But other than that, it seems like everything's good. I don't smell anything. It doesn't smell like it's burning. I just don't know. It's just a pure guess, but all of a sudden the gauge flatlined and then it hasn't moved. And none of the other gauges work. All that works is the speedometer and the gas gauge, but this whole right side seems to be dead. So first little bit of trouble here. Halfway, we're not even halfway yet. So just we'll keep you posted. We made it.
No, what bothers me is that, as long as we get out before
It gets too dark. Yeah, no, I know.
It's your charcoal camp.
Oh, you?
It's just for
Hang it in there. This is the first time I've been to view here.
the backup vacuum.
Look, this thing is just flapping here.
Yeah, that's the air breather. Just to clean the air that's going into the crane.
So I left you a book. I'm gonna put the keys right there. I don't think you'll worry about it.
No. Oh, put the battery connection in the glove. Okay.
So
Very good. Yeah. Awesome.
This book. This is what was given to me by this guy.
Okay.
This is everything he did to this van.
Okay.
So apparently in 2000 it was totally redone by some company. They put a crate motor in this thing.
Okay.
So I think this thing's got like 35,000 miles on it.
Okay.
From what I know of it. But then he drove it until 2010, backed it into a barn, and then it sat in the barn. But it was open faced.
Yeah.
Barns. That's why you saw all this kind of.
Yeah.
So then he gave it to me, and I took it from there. I had a backstreet mechanic who put a new distributor on, new wires on, new plugs.
Yeah.
Drain the gas, blah blah blah. Oil change, and it fired right up.
Cool.
But this drawer on it just kills the I don't know what it is.
Okay.
I think it all needs
We'll-
to be rewired. I left you a wish list. I'll put it in with this.
Because it could be an alternator. It could be anything drawing on that.
Yeah.
But we can find out. Because you'll love it. Everybody gives you the thumbs up. It's like,
Absolutely. Right? When you're driving it, right? Everybody loves it. What's not to love? Look at it.
I did reset what's called the TV linkage, which is this cable here. So when you kick it down, like you're pulling up a hill,
Okay.
you need it to drop down a gear. It's what
That's just
makes that all happen.
That's just a-
This is a ground cable.
Okay, ground cable.
Yeah. So
Exhaust.
this is where I brazed it up.
Okay.
But the main problem is, and this is why I hate it, but someone tried to save you money,
Not
but
me.
now it's gonna cost you a ton.
Okay.
They were frozen solid.
All right. So now they're freed up.
So now that they're freed up, this thing steers so much better. Because this one was the same way. It wouldn't move at all. And this one, whoever had aligned it, pinched this sleeve, so everything was torqued all
it was
this
all-
way.
okay.
So I had to loosen this sleeve up,
Now it's working
recenter
properly.
this, so it had its flex.
You were the
No,
man for
it's
this
just-
job. You were.
It's all this little
Brings
stuff.
you back though, doesn't it?
Oh.
Working on it.
You have to mess with the coolant and all, make sure you recheck it, so it's good for 35. Springtime, new wiper motor, which you probably forgot a few things, but basically everything I did is written. Okay?
Awesome. So cool.
And just writing down paid in full.
I think the fluid film was the smartest thing, right?
Right.
Paint on this. I'm gonna bring it down to the body shop and have it done. I want to have them weld all these holes. I want to get rid of the. That was the total tire rack. I want to have them get rid of that. I want to have them get rid of the antenna hub. I don't need that. And I want them to clean up this rust and make sure, and just do it one more time. I don't think it needs a ton of body work, but I thought about painting it myself, but I don't want to get into it. I really don't.
So, what's your name and how are you related to this van?
My name is Chris Killian, and this van I purchased in 1987 from a friend of a friend. I happened to be looking, I had just graduated from university, UMass, class of 87, and I just had this, I wanted a short series black snub-nosed Chevy van. I'd seen a picture of it. Maybe it was A-Team or something like that, although A-Team was a different, it was a GMC, I think. It wasn't a Chevy van. But and a friend of a friend was like, well, a friend of ours has this van. He's trying to get rid of it. And I went and took a look at it. It had 15,000 miles on it, and he wanted 3,500 bucks. And my dad had a mechanic station, and we brought it there, looked it over. It was in great shape, a few dents, and I bought it. And I had it for until I sold it to your dad. How many years was that? That was probably 30 plus years.
So, you remember the last time you drove it?
Must have been 2015, I think. It was, we moved from California, and it was my primary vehicle. Moved back here from California, and because of emissions, and the windshield was cracked, and it was just had a lot of problems, electrical, right, that your dad was talking about. And I was like, I finally was like, I can't keep up with this. I can't, financially, it was just too much. I needed something more reliable. So I stuffed it in the garage and put it up on blocks, and it sat there until I was decided it was time to part with it, which was hard to do, but I did it anyway.
So, what are some of your favorite memories driving the
Oh
van?
my God, too many to mention. Cross-country trips, moving to California after grad school, going through grad school with it, having it completely restored in 1999. Trips to into Boston with my family, stuffing people in, friends, going on touring with the Grateful Dead many times with it in the East Coast, stuffing a bunch of friends in it. It was just a lot of action, a lot of memories, a lot of transporting a lot of bodies to and from. Just I was the go-to. Oh, and when my friends got married in 1987, I think it was. Yep. This was the limousine for it, and there's a whole bunch of pictures of that with me and them, and going to the wedding, from the wedding to the reception, and on and on. So it served so many purposes. It just did a lot of things.
So, was there a lot of people you knew back then that rode in the van that you really don't talk to anymore?
Uh, you could say that. There are, people come and go. The day of Facebook, everybody seems to be connected these days, but it was mostly close friends and family. Was really it. So a lot of those people I still know, talk to, and all of them have memories of it too, because this was the go-to vehicle for if we were at a party or a group of friends wanted to go away together or go camping or take a day trip. We all jumped in the van. It just made sense, And so a lot of people have really great memories. Of course, I have a lot, and then there are a bunch of people who have like one memory, two memories, or something like that of it. So.
So, how did you feel when you parted with it, and how do you feel about the place it's going and the people it's with now?
I was very. It was a soul search, trying to figure out what I was going to do with it, because I had spent so much money on it, and I had so many memories, and I'm a very sentimental person. So it represented a lot as far as just its symbolism and for my life, and just my stages of growing up. And there was the van, and it was such a big part of the whole culture of my friends and me and everything else. And then moving to California, and it would be, it was my vehicle living there, and meeting Lisa, and just it was like the first child almost. And then then I got a lot of compliments. I'd be at traffic lights, and people, perfect strangers, would pull up. Oh, A-Team, oh, A-Team, and wow, it's a great vehicle. Wow, tell us, more about it. Oh, no, green light, gotta go. Um, and and just yeah, it was always there. It was just a part of that experience in a lot of ways. And so selling it was, now I had the family and I needed a new vehicle, and it just, common sense said, sell it. It's time to move on, because it was sitting in the garage up on blocks, and it was, like your dad said, it was getting roached out. It was a mouse haven, mouse house. And when I put it on Facebook and your grandmother responded, I it was just serendipity. It was perfect, because I remember that picture of me and my sister and your grandfather the day I bought it on Hersham Street, and I was like, what a perfect place for it to go. And I knew that I would still have visitation rights, in a way. I'd be able to keep track of what was happening to it, if it was being fixed up or not. If for any reason they decided they didn't want it and it was going to be sold, I would take it back. I would have that opportunity. It wasn't going to disappear from my life. Even though I wasn't in that mindset at the time, in retrospect, it was like, yeah, that was the right thing to do. So
So, how do you feel about seeing it right now?
when I pulled up and coming down the road, I just caught a glimpse of the top of it, and it flashing back. I just, like, all of a sudden I was back to the day we bought this house and moving here and driving this thing across country for the last time, um, to move back here, um, and just how fast time goes by. But to have something like this still looking almost exactly the same as the day I bought it, was, it just wonderful. Just a very, it's an object. It's an inanimate object, but at the same time, it means so much to me, because it witnessed so many parts of my life. So to see it sitting here again, it's like it never left. It's like it's always been here. It's just matter of fact almost, but at the same time, hard to explain, really. To get, emotional or sentimental about a vehicle, but when you have something like that in your life that is, as I said, is just, witness to so much of who you are and your experiences, talking about myself, that it's hard to look at it as just a vehicle, as just a van. It's more of a partner, like a confidant, somebody who keeps a secret keeper, just everything, just all run the gamut of what it represents to me. Yeah.